Hello you guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Charlotte. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Hello and welcome if you're new here. I make lots of videos on beauty and fragrance mostly. Today we are continuing my massive, huge collective haul, and this is the final installment, the third part of the Niche and Luxury edition. If you haven't already watched the part 1 and part 2, I encourage you to watch it. This is the final part, and I've already shown you a lot of fragrances, and I think I have more fragrances in this category than the other two categories, if you can believe it. Yeah. Before we get into it, I hope that you had a wonderful Christmas if you celebrate, that you were able to be with your loved ones, no matter how big or small that cocoon might be. And if you weren't able to be with your family or loved ones, I hope that you were still able to have a peaceful and loving holiday time. I wish all of you nothing but love and peace in the coming year. Thank you so much for watching. Let's get into the final haul. Okay, so just to reiterate, all of these were bought the last 4 to 5 months. Some of them are secondhand bottles in here, though most of them were bought new by me. Yes. If you would like to see some more videos from me in the future, don't forget to subscribe before we get into it, and also like the video if you like this kind of content. I appreciate it. Let's start with 2 fragrances that are often compared. I'm going to start with the first one that I got, and that here is Love by Kilian. Don't Be Shy. And I think I have mentioned it recently in a video, but I didn't really go over this fragrance in any detail. And this is a fragrance that had been on my radar for quite a while, you know, just how it has been on everyone's radar, whether they like it or not. Everyone knows about it, right? This is a very, very, very sweet orange blossom fragrance. It's also very gourmand. The opening can seem very candy-like and over-sweet, but I find that this has a very sexy labdanum, ambery, slightly animalic background to it. So yeah, so this does have notes of civet, musk, and labdanum, so that explains the animalic edge to it that I get, but it's still extremely feminine, extremely gourmand and sweet. Let's spray one spray, which is going to cost quite a bit of money. Just being honest there. These are expensive. But yeah, wow. Yeah, this is beautiful. This is sweet. This is sexy. I think that's what gives it the sexiness. It stops it from becoming juvenile. It really does feel very, very intoxicatingly sweet, but also sexy at the same time. A hefty dose of vanilla as well. It's very heavy on the white florals as well, so I think it can come off as screechy to some people for sure. I actually find it surprising how many people like it for that reason, because I think it's a little bit challenging in the neroli, the orange blossom. Those florals with the sugar can just come off as being too much, I think, for some people, and I'm surprised actually that it has become kind of mainstream in a way. It also has that rose in the background that I do detect, which is really, really lovely. And the orange blossom with the rose definitely gives a different sort of feeling than if it was just orange blossom. It gives it a sort of like, well, I hesitate to say this because I get it more in the next fragrance I'm going to tell you, but a little bit of a baklava vibe, like as if there's that orange water and rose water in there together. It reminds me of that, you know. It's very, very, very sweet. And yeah, I have heard that this, you know, is the newer formulation and that it is not as potent as the original Love. I can't speak for the original. I think for this one personally, for my tastes and for my needs, I'm satisfied with it. I like it, but I do think that some people might not find it loud enough, especially considering the price. Now, if that is you, I recommend you check out the next fragrance. The next fragrance is by Memo Paris, and this is Sintra. I've really been falling in love with Memo Paris' line. It's always like a different part of the world, and it's just very romantic and well thought out and well conceptualized. The artistry is evident. Like every single bottle has this beautiful, unique design on it and a story to go along with it. Sintra at first sniff and at first glance is very reminiscent of Love by Kilian. They are very similar in a lot of ways, but they also have a lot of differences. So right now too, since I've had them for a little while, I actually don't find them as similar as I used to think they were. So even from first sniff, like that right out of the bottle, they don't smell quite the same to me anymore. So this one is still just as sweet. It's very, very sweet. That's what they have in common. They have that heavy dose of orange blossom in the opening that is very, very sweet and very, very white, citrusy floral. So I think that if you don't like that white floral, you probably neither one of these are for you. I think that they are an acquired taste. I've not always loved those kinds of white florals, but I have come to fall in love with them and appreciate them a lot more in the last couple years. This one reminds me even a little bit more of the baklava syrupy, dense orange blossom rose water scent. However, this one is a little bit more complex, a little bit more multi-layered, I would say. This really goes from like sweet gourmand animalic tinge, and like that's the scent. This one starts out in a way that's similar to Love Don't Be Shy, but it gets very, very lactonic and creamy and gourmand in the dry down. It does change, and so for that reason it's different from Love Don't Be Shy, and it's a little less linear than Love Don't Be Shy. Okay, so let's check out Sintra. This one actually has marshmallow in the notes. Love does not have marshmallow described in the notes, the original Love, I don't think, although I do think it does have marshmallow in the other Loves. Anyway, it still does kind of smell like marshmallow Love. They both have that in it, but this one also has a milk note, and it is lactonic. It's really, really, really nice. Once that lactonic edge comes out, it just completely changes in nature to my nose, and it really kind of takes a different direction from Love. So, nice spray. Yeah. So right away in the opening, this has a very strong greenness though too that Kilian Love does not have. That greenness is really nice and fresh though to me. If you're afraid of the greenness, it does dissipate, especially when the milk comes out. It doesn't stay very green, but the opening is quite green. So yeah, I would say Sintra is the one that's really going to take you on a journey. Love is not going to take you on a journey necessarily, but it's absolutely intoxicating. It's sweet, it's sexy, it's gourmand. They're both sweet and gourmand. I'm still not sure which one I prefer. At the beginning, I thought I preferred Sintra, but since I've been wearing them a little bit more over the past couple of months, I'm not sure that I have a preference, or at least I'm not sure yet, especially since I don't tend to reach for them in the same occasion or for the same reason. If they were interchangeable to me, then maybe it would be easier for me to say, but they really aren't. Like, I tend to reach for Sintra when I want to feel, like I said, a little bit more romantic or maybe cozy. I reach for Love when I want to feel more like pretty and feminine and sexy or something. I don't know. Those are the slight differences that I've noticed for those two fragrances in terms of when I reach for them and the difference in that, you know? See, like right now, they're quite similar. So after that initial green blast, it starts getting a little bit similar. But Love Don't Be Shy right now is in the dry down, and it won't really change. Like, it's basically, that's what it's gonna smell like the rest of the time. Whereas Sintra, like if I left this here 30 minutes later, it would start smelling very, very milky, very gourmand in that sense. This also has some cinnamon in it, which I do not detect, but I think it probably adds a warmness to the fragrance that, along with the milk, I think probably really enhances and adds a complexity to the fragrance. Another difference is that this is a beast mode fragrance, you guys. This is not only very long lasting, this projects, this is loud. Yeah, this is a powerhouse of a fragrance, much more than I even expected. I have since heard similar opinions, so I know I'm not the only one who thinks that, but I think that this is the better choice if you are someone who is really easily disappointed by projection or sillage or lasting power. I would say don't go for the Love Don't Be Shy, go for Sintra. Though if you are a orange blossom lover, a gourmand lover, a sweet vanilla white floral lover, like I think you will probably love both. Okay, to be honest, I do love both, and I do think they have very different vibes. This one here is a lot more sexy to me and a tiny bit easier to wear for me, and that's, you know, taking into account that both of these though are not necessarily easy to wear for everyone. They might be too white floral dominant, especially with that neroli and orange blossom, and they also might be too sweet for a lot of people. But between the two, this one is a little bit more easy to wear to me, a little bit more sexy. This one is a little bit more complex, a little bit more interesting, a little bit more of like a romantic vibe. I get a little bit more sex, a little bit more romance with this one. I don't know. You tell me if you've smelled both, if you know both. What do you think of the differences between these fragrances? I would love to discuss in the comments. I love both of these fragrances. Like I said, this is the more long-lasting beast mode one. This is softer, sexier, slightly more straightforward, sort of sweet white floral gourmand. Love these both. Excellent fragrances. And I'm so happy to finally have them in my collection. Next up, by Tiziana Terenzi, we have Draco, or Draco. Is it Draco, I guess? I'm like not sure. I should maybe say it in Italian. So it would be like Draco, I think. Tiziana Terenzi. And this was a love at first sniff for me, you guys, because while this is compared and similar in the family, I say in the family because there are so many scents that are put put into this family of like Kirke and Erba Pura, all those kinds of scents. You know what I'm talking about, if you know what I'm talking about. This one, however, has a lot of peach musk, and that's what makes it a little bit different and interesting to me. It's so funny because this is like reminding me, I remember when I got this, I think it was the end of summer or the beginning of fall, and I'm literally transported back there. So I guess it did have like quite an impression on me. Yeah, I just love this fragrance. Let's spray it. Yeah, it's just so fruity, but there's a creaminess in there, which is so lovely. And it's very, very joyful. This is so joyful. There's something very sunny and bright about it. It still feels like I could wear it year round, but there's something very uplifting about it. So this also has a little bit of greenness in it, but I really don't find it that remarkable or overpowering in any way. I don't find it that green. I find the greenness to be still playing second fiddle to the fruitiness and the muskiness and the powdery vanilla ness of this fragrance. Yeah, there's a lot of citrus in here in the top, and then it goes straight into the peach. It's really, really lovely. It's very musky, it's powdery, it's vanilla, but it's still very, very fruity, and the fruitiness is all throughout. I really find it interesting that what is usually in the top or mid is in the base. So we have pear in the base notes. At the top we have the bergamot, the lemon, the orange, and then in the mid we have that peach, and that peach is just like, there is a lot of peach in this fragrance, a lot of peach. So if you don't like peach, you might not like this, but if you do like peach, this is so lovely. This also has a little bit of like a fresh aquatic sort of vibe to it. So this is a really, really intoxicating, fruity, powdery, sweet vanilla fragrance. A very, very easy reach to me. I think this is lovely. I do think this is different enough from those other fruity scents that we know, like Erba Pura and Kirke. It does have a very unique touch to it, and I'm really happy to have this in my collection. This was a blind buy that was very successful for me, and you know, I love these bottles by Tiziana Terenzi. They're just so beautiful. You know, this is what you expect from a beautiful work of art. When you buy a niche fragrance for a hefty price tag, this is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful, the whole thing. This is a scent that I cannot wait to wear in the spring and summer as well. I'm going back to smell Sintra and Love, and again, Love is a lot softer than Sintra. Even though I put the similar amount on these papers, Love is a lot softer. Sintra almost smells like it was soaked in the fragrance. Like, it's very strong, it's very concentrated. They are still quite similar, though Sintra is still a bit green, and Love is just that soft, musky, sweet, slightly animalic gourmand. I think that's what makes it quite sexy. Sintra is a little bit more of an adventurous, white floral, lactonic, gourmand sort of fragrance. You are going to be taken on a little bit of a journey. Yeah, beautiful, both of them. And yeah, Draco now is, there's no more greenness with Draco. It's just that beautiful powdery vanilla with some muskiness and a lot of peach. And I guess that pear too, it's like peach pear that I'm getting. Very nice. I was gonna say next, but there you go. That's my only pet peeve about this bottle, you guys. This here is again by Tiziana Terenzi, and this is Borea, Tiziana Terenzi, and this, unfortunately, unlike the other ones, is like a wooden cap. I think it's wooden. I don't think it's plastic. It could be like acrylic or plastic, but I think it's wood, and you cannot hold it by the cap. It just becomes one of those things you notice, and yeah, so you can't really pick it up by the cap. And be careful, because sometimes I forget, because the other ones I can, and then there you go, I forgot here and it fell. Anyway, Borea is a fragrance that I bought at the very tail end of summer / maybe fall. I haven't worn it that much, to be honest, because this is a fragrance that is just screaming spring to me, spring and summer. This is a very, very strong white floral scent. Again, this is the kind of white floral scent that almost goes into mothball territory, and the only other fragrance I have that does that, and like compared to it, this is nothing, but the only fragrance I have that does that is Cocaine by Franck Boclet. That one really goes into mothball territory. Here, I just get a little bit of it. Yeah, Borea is, you need to love tuberose. You need to love white florals, I think, to like and enjoy and even just appreciate this fragrance, because I feel like otherwise you might just get mothballs or, I don't know, something you don't like. But this does have coconut, almond, pear, and plum in the opening, but to be honest, this is predominantly a sweet tuberose kind of fragrance to me. This is not a bubblegummy sort of tuberose. This is very sweet, but I don't get so much that coconut and almond at the get-go. I really get a lot of that tuberose has a little bit of that, is that pear? I think it's pear. Yeah, a little bit of that pear, but it's not exactly like what I would think it would smell like just by looking at the notes. Yeah, I get a lot of that tuberose, that jasmine, the vanilla. I think the coconut is just kind of blending into the tuberose and jasmine and giving it a sort of creamy facet to it. And maybe the almond as well, that's what it's doing, is making it a little bit creamier, a little bit nuttier, but it's still predominantly a tuberose vanilla dominant fragrance. Really easy to wear for a tuberose or white floral lover in the spring and summer, and I cannot wait to wear it during that occasion. It has a lovely musk in the dry down as well, which I love. So that is Borea by Tiziana Terenzi, or Borea by Tiziana Terenzi. Next, we have another very sweet, fruity white floral, but that's very different from the one we just talked about. And this is Rose Arabia Almond by Widian. And this here is a very, very, very sweet, syrupy floral sort of almond, white floral as well. This has a lot of fruits in it as well. It has some raspberry, it has some peach, it has some coconut as well. That was a nice spray, right? Very sweet. Very gourmand. The dry down is lactonic, it's creamy. This is definitely a very, very gourmand, sweet, fruity, white floral vanilla fragrance. The almond in here is syrupy and sweet. Oh, I love it, actually. I get a lot of that peach, that plum, the raspberry, the coconut, the almond, the tuberose, the honeysuckle, the orange blossom, the violet, the orchid. Definitely very feminine, definitely very fruity, very sweet, very white floral, very gourmand. Yeah, I'm very excited to keep wearing this fragrance. I would love to know if you have any thoughts about this fragrance, if you've tried it before. Let's discuss. Yeah, definitely very, very yummy. The next fragrance we have is another gourmand fragrance. This is by Aoud, and this is actually my first from the Aoud collection. This is Crystal Love for Her. And first of all, I just think this beautiful, I was gonna say, this bottle is beautiful. There you go. This bottle is beautiful. I think it's majestic. Yeah, it's lovely. Right away when I smell this, my first impression was that it reminded me of a cross between Casablanca by Swiss Arabian and Chocolate Greedy by Montal. It's as if they came together and had a softer projecting, because it is a softer sort of scent, to be honest. And I think all of them by Aoud are a little bit softer, because that's what I see in the reviews. But yeah, this is definitely a very, very yummy gourmand scent. It has some chocolate, it has fruitiness to it as well. Let's do another one. That's better. Wait for it to dry down a bit. Yeah, this is a powdery, sweet vanilla gourmand scent with some chocolate and a lot of fruity notes in it. It has a little bit of rose, but it's mainly a gourmand fragrance with some chocolate, some musk, some fruits, a lot of vanilla. This is a very nice gourmand fragrance if you like those kinds of gourmand fragrance. There's nothing like sexy or very floral about this. It's very gourmand. Yeah, vanilla, sweet. I get that chocolate, but it's not as chocolatey as Chocolate Greedy. It really is as if you took Casablanca with that, like, and Casablanca I always describe as kind of like sparkling apple juice to me. Just like if you took that apple juice and you mixed it with chocolate. Maybe that doesn't sound good, but it works. It does work. I like it. I really do like it. Yeah, this is just a very nice, cozy gourmand sort of scent to me. I'm very happy to have it in my collection. I would love to know if any of you have tried this, if you've sampled it before, what your thoughts are, all of that. Like I said, this is a softer projecting sort of scent. It's not as loud as, for example, Chocolate Greedy. Even Casablanca. Casablanca is quite a projecting scent as well. So yeah, it's a little bit softer than both of those. But yeah, I look forward to wear this some more this winter. Delicious. Next up, we have another fragrance that is by a new house to me. This is by Nicolai Parfumeur Créateur, and this is Vanille Tonka. This is a very unisex, warm, spicy vanilla fragrance. This is definitely very perfect for this season, for the dead of winter. This has some cinnamon in it. This has a citrusy basil opening, which makes it a little bit different, with quite a bit of cinnamon, vanilla, tonka bean, and incense in the dry down. Yeah, this is a very nice, warm, spicy vanilla that for some reason I haven't reached for as much as my other warm, spicy vanillas, and I'm not sure why. It does feel a little bit more, and I'm not sure why, because objectively speaking, I don't find that it is, but it feels a little bit more masculine to me. Although, you know, I tried passing it off to my boyfriend, and of course he doesn't love it because, you know, as if you've watched my other videos or my last video, my boyfriend doesn't necessarily love vanilla, and this is very, very vanilla. But yeah, and let me know in the comments if there's fragrances that do this for you. It's like there's nothing wrong with this fragrance. It smells great, good performance, but for some reason I'm just not in awe of it, and I'm not really sure why, because there's nothing wrong with it. There really isn't. This is a lovely fragrance. Maybe I just need a little more time to warm up to it. I would love to know your thoughts down in the comments if you know or have this fragrance. Like I said, if you are a guy and you love vanilla, I think this is a really, really great vanilla. Vanille Tonka by Nicolai Parfumeur Créateur. Let's have a cup of coffee. Okay, next, I'm gonna go through both of these at the same time because they came together. I think these are so cute. So I specifically wanted Ani, but it also came with Hacivat, I hope I'm saying it correctly, by Nishane, and Ani by Nishane. I was very interested and intrigued. I already love 100 Silent Ways, which is probably the most crowd-pleasing sort of fragrance from Nishane, but Ani has taken the fragrance world by storm, and this is a fragrance that is supposed to be one of the best warm spicy vanillas. First of all, the spray is absolutely lovely, especially on a travel atomizer. Very nice. This has a bit of a medicinal opening to it. Very vanilla, very warm, spicy. This is one that I've only worn once so far, and I actually didn't love it on me, but I know that it's something I need to wear again. It's not, I don't think it's anything to do with even my personal preference or the fragrance. I think I just was having an off day with my nose, so I'm gonna have to try it again. But just maybe it could also just be because there's so much hype about it that you're just kind of like worked up and you have these really, really high expectations, and then when you don't get that exact immediate love at first sniff, you're just kind of skeptical, or I need some time to get to know it more, if you know what I mean. But right now, today, it's smelling really good to me. It's smelling better to me today than it was when I wore it last week. So this has green notes in the opening. I don't really detect those. I get more of the ginger in the opening, and I get the cardamom in there immediately as well. I think I get a little bit of that combo of the pink pepper, the rose, and the black currant, but I'm really mainly getting a very warm, spicy vanilla scent from this, which is definitely coming from that ginger and cardamom predominantly to my nose. I would love to know in the comments down below if you like Ani, if you love Ani, and I would love to know if you maybe don't like Ani. I would like to know why, because this is a very well-loved fragrance, and it's funny because right now it's smelling so good to me, you guys, and I did not have the best first impression of it when I wore it, so I'm kind of excited about that. I'm excited that this is smelling better to me this time. Really excited to keep experimenting with Ani. And then Hacivat is a very fruity, woody, mossy fragrance. Right away when I smelled it, I was like, okay, this is a pineapple fruity fragrance. Lovely. I get that pineapple right away. But it goes in a slightly more masculine direction. Totally unisex though. Just what I'm saying is, you know, sometimes there's something very fruity and it just smells very feminine. This isn't like that. It's more unisex slash maybe a little bit more masculine. Immediately I'm getting that pineapple. It's almost making me salivate, and it's a like citrusy sour pineapple with that grapefruit in there. It's also very woody and mossy and a very grounded, earthy, woody, citrus aromatic sort of fruity fragrance. This is one that I haven't worn yet on myself, but I'm excited to try this out in the spring and summer, and I'm also excited to smell this on my partner because I think this will be very, very nice on him. And if you're a man, check this one out if you haven't tried it already. I think this is a really nice citrus, aromatic, earthy, but still sweet sort of scent. Perfect for the spring and summer. Can't wait to wear this, and also, like I said, I can't wait to smell this on my partner as well. I'm trying to figure out what it is in the Nishane Ani that I wasn't loving last time because I still kind of detect it right now. It might honestly just be the ginger cardamom combo that I'm not completely the biggest fan of. It's like they compete with each other, the cardamom and the ginger, and then with the vanilla, and so it makes me a little bit queasy in some way, and I feel so bad to say that because there's still a part of me that really, really likes this fragrance. There's something intoxicating about this vanilla, but I do need some more time with this fragrance to get to know it and to see what my real feelings are about it long term. Next, this was a little bit of a risky blind buy, but it was a love at first sniff for me, so it was a very successful blind buy. This is by Nishane once again, and this is Zenne. First of all, this bottle is absolutely gorgeous. Yes, absolutely gorgeous. Yes, love the Nishane bottles. They are just beautiful and classic and elegant. Zenne is a very fruity, sweet vanilla fragrance, but that's also very sour and tart at the same time. That part also reminds me of Delina. It does not smell anything like Delina, but it's that sort of fragrance that to me is like steals the show. It's sour, it's sweet, vanilla. Oh, it's mouth watering, you guys. Oh my goodness. This is one that I have not had a full wear yet. This is one of the more recent fragrances I bought, but right away I was like, I cannot wait to wear this in the springtime, even more than like summer, like the springtime. Oh my goodness, this is so uplifting. This is so juicy, this is fruity, this is sweet and sour, but still very, very vanilla, intoxicating. This is so underrated. I don't really hear that much about this. My friend here on YouTube and Instagram, Kia from Yummy411, she just posted about this fragrance recently, actually, I think on Instagram, and I was so happy to see that she's enjoying it too, because this is just so good. This has a black currant, rhubarb, and grapefruit opening that's absolutely intoxicating and juicy and fresh and sweet and sour at the same time, but it's still totally creamy and vanilla. It has that gardenia and sandalwood, which I think both lend a creamy, more perhaps lactonic touch to the fragrance. A lot of vanilla. I mean, it's just a beautiful combination. The ambergris and musk add a very feminine, musky sexiness to this fragrance as well. Altogether, I love this fragrance. I cannot wait to wear this more in the spring. I would love to know your thoughts on this fragrance. If you've tried it, if you've sampled it, if you smelled it before. This is a really good one, you guys. And I can tell by the smell, and that's also why I kind of mentioned Delina. It doesn't smell like Delina, remember? But just that same kind of vibe, that powerful, like sweet and sour, punchy springtime vibe. Very feminine, and it smells nuclear. It smells like this would be a very strong fragrance. I'm gonna have to try it out some more, have some real official wears with it to be able to tell, but this smells like a very, very potent, strong, long-lasting fragrance that would project. So that's Nishane Zenne. Next up, we have another fragrance by Alexandre J. And so yes, I also bought this year the Majestic Vanilla, which was that spicy, ambery sort of vanilla fragrance. Here we have the Majestic Musk. And I told you guys recently that I've been on a little bit of a musk kick lately. I've really come to realize that I really love musk, and I actually thought musk was kind of a safe note, but a lot of people don't like musk, so I'm kind of trying to, you know, explore and embrace my musk loving self. Here we have the Majestic Musk. This is very powdery vanilla musk, okay? So this has a lot of heliotrope in it. It's very powdery and vanilla and musky without being sweet. I have to say as well, I just think this bottle is really, really pretty. I don't know if you can tell, but it almost looks like a rose gold. It's just really, really pretty. And can you see it? Yeah, I just think this bottle looks very feminine and pretty. So soft and powdery and musky. I really, really like this fragrance, and I'm really happy to have this in my collection because it really fits that bill for that very specific fragrance that I wanted. I wanted that very strong musk fragrance that was still very powdery and vanilla. So this is so strong on the heliotrope without having much sweetness that in the opening it almost smells bitter to me. I think that's actually the aromatic edge that I'm detecting, the juniper in here. Yeah, because I am getting those slightly piney nuances, but mostly, like I said, I'm getting a lot of that heliotrope, a little bit of the iris and the vanilla in there. And that's what's really funny about this fragrance. There is no actual musk note in this fragrance, even though it's called the Majestic Musk, but it definitely evokes musk to the max, okay? And I think it's that heliotrope iris combination. It also has suede in there, which is giving that musky feeling for some reason. I guess it kind of makes sense. Suede is kind of like that animalic sort of leathery nuance, but it's a little bit different from leather, like the smell of suede. I'm mainly getting that heliotrope with the iris and the suede together. And I guess the tonka bean as well. That's giving that very vanillic sort of nuance to the fragrance. Yeah, still a little bit aromatic. Like I said, this is quite unique in my collection and I'm really happy to have it. This is a strong like. This is not necessarily a love, I don't think yet, but this is a strong like, and it definitely is not redundant in my collection. I don't really have anything that smells quite like this. Next up, I had a decant of this last year and I just really loved it, and I knew I wanted it in my collection. I finally found a good deal for a partial bottle. This is Initio Rehab. This unfortunately is not a very full bottle, like there's only I think like a third left, but it was worth it still for me. It's not something that I wear super often, and it's a very, very strong fragrance. I just love this bottle too as well. I think it's majestic. This is just such a beautiful fragrance, you guys. This is a very sandalwood dominant musky lavender fragrance, perfectly unisex. I love this on me, but I also think this is one of the most beautiful fragrances for men. I'm just saying, like, if I smelled this on a guy, I would do a double take. I would do a double take. I wouldn't be like, I would do a double take for the fragrance. I'd be like, who is wearing that? So sexy. This is one of the sexiest fragrances, I think, out there for men, but totally unisex. I love wearing this myself. I absolutely love wearing this myself. Incredibly strong and projecting fragrance without being harsh in any way. Yeah, this is just such a beautiful aromatic lavender musky sandalwood scent. There's not much more to say about it. I love this fragrance. I think it is a winning fragrance if you love lavender or sandalwood or the mix of those, or a musky lavender sort of fragrance. Like I said, not particularly feminine, definitely unisex and perhaps leaning masculine, especially if you compare it to Initio's other fragrance called Musk Therapy. That one is a little bit more feminine. This one is a tad more masculine leaning if you compare it to that one, but like I said, totally unisex. I love this fragrance on me. Excellent quality fragrance, great performance, great scent profile, also quite unique. I've seen this being compared to Spicebomb. Maybe that's why I'm like, this is such a sexy fragrance, because that one's really sexy too. I find them different enough. I can kind of see the resemblance now that I'm smelling it. I just got Spicebomb for my boyfriend this Christmas, so I just smelled it and I'm like, I want to wear it, you guys. Cannot wait to wear it myself. But yeah, I understand. I see the resemblance. It smells a little bit like the really sexy dry down of Spicebomb. Really, really love this. I think this is an excellent fragrance and I'm so glad to have it in my collection. Okay, I hope you're not bored yet. This is a lot of fragrances, isn't it? Next up, we have my Serge Lutens, and this is Datura Noir. This is a fragrance that I got in fall and I was just like, where was this all summer for me? This is one of the most intoxicating, best summer holiday sort of scents you can get, in my opinion. This is lovely. I cannot wait to wear this summer. This is like summer though. This is summer vacation, like a luxurious vacation. That's what this scent is. A lot of tuberose. It's vanilla, it's tuberose, it's sweet, it's creamy, coconutty. A little bit of a sunscreen vibe, but in a super elevated, luxurious kind of way. Wow, this is so good. I might actually have to wear this winter as a vacation in a bottle. Vacation in a bottle. This has almond in it as well, which makes it just very creamy and rich and dense and decadent. Right now, Nishane Ani is smelling to me a little bit like Fruit Loops, but like in a good way. But not really, I was not really expecting that. Oh my God. Do you guys get Fruit Loops from Ani? Like ever? Maybe I'm crazy, but I think that's what I was getting. Like a powdered Fruit Loops. Smells good. Almost like, you know, like the milk left over after your Fruit Loops. Like creamy vanilla. But are there fruits in this? Oh my God. Wow, that must be the black currant. Okay. I'm changing my mind about that one, you guys. Nishane Ani. It's gonna be a journey and I'm ready for it. Back to Datura Noir. My goodness, so dense, so creamy. I was initially like, oh damn, why did I get 100 ml bottle of a vacation scent? I'm never gonna use that, or I'm not gonna use it that much, but this is the queen or the king of the vacation scents. Oh my goodness, this is so good. This is so good. This is like a gourmand, luxurious, tuberose vacation scent. I love it. It's like everything all in one in that category. Absolutely beautiful. Definitely cannot wait to wear this in the spring, summer, and okay, let's be honest, I'm gonna wear it this winter too. Did I spray it? I didn't even spray it. Oh, I'm hit with that coconut, vanilla, almond, tuberose right away. Absolutely intoxicating. Absolutely beautiful fragrance. Datura Noir by Serge Lutens. Next, I have mentioned these before, I think, but I didn't go through them or show them to you. This is by Lancome and this is Iris Dragees. This is one of 4 fragrances I have from the private Lancome line. This is one that I go back and forth between it being my favorite from the 4 that I have. This is a beautiful, powdery, sweet iris almond fragrance, gourmand fragrance. just like all the other Lancome fragrances from this line is not linear. None of them are that I have. Actually, this is one of my favorite aspects of these fragrances. They always take you on a journey. This is one that opens a little bit citrusy and peppery from that bergamot and pink pepper, but quite quickly gets right into the heart. That powdery iris almond. It has some orange blossom in there as well, but it is quite toned down, well blended. It's mainly that iris with those candied almonds. It is really like a candied almond iris sort of scent. It gets sweeter and more vanillic and more gourmand as it dries down. And so yeah, it starts getting like irisy, powdery, sweet, but then those almonds just get sweeter and more gourmand as it dries down. It's also soft, powdery, and musky. It's very feminine. It's a very cozy, inviting, feminine gourmand sort of scent. There's nothing sexy or too literally gourmand about it. It's just a very, very classy, lovely, powdery vanilla iris almondy scent. This is not a loud projecting scent, but I do find it long lasting. I have no complaints honestly in that department. I don't have any complaints actually in that department at all on any of the Lancome fragrances I have in that line. Some of them are a little bit more loud than the others, but this is one of the ones that's a little bit quieter, but it's still strong and very complex and long lasting. It's a really, really beautiful fragrance. One of my favorites in the line. This is Iris Dragees by Lancome. Also by Lancome is Lavande Trianon here, and this is just a lavender vanilla milk fragrance. This is a fragrance that took me by surprise when I first sniffed it a couple months ago, because the lavender in here is very strong, and I mean, you might be like, duh, it's a lavender fragrance, but I also have quite a few other lavender fragrances, and I didn't get as much lavender in those as I got in this one, and I thought that because of the milk it would be a little bit more toned down. And this is actually part of the reason that I used to be a little bit scared of lavender and fragrances, is because I have a lot of experience with lavender, I guess. Like I grew up with a lot of those, like, you know, like those little pouches of lavender people put in their pillows, and I don't know if that's a common thing or not. Maybe it's super common. And so a lot of these like real like fresh lavender scents, or like dry lavender or lavender essential oils, and even just like fresh lavender. But yeah, a lot of scent memories with fresh lavender and dried lavender, and it has an aromatic sort of strong nuance to it sometimes, and I'm always fearful that that's all I'm gonna get out of a lavender fragrance. And this one I was certain that I wouldn't get that at all, because there's the milk in there and the vanilla and the sugar, but I actually get that strong lavender here, and that's in that strong, bitter, aromatic kind of way that I get with fresh lavender. So I was kind of surprised. Now, yeah, very strong lavender. That lavender, like that dried lavender from the little like pouches that you would put in your laundry or your drawer or whatever. So I personally, I need to wait for it to dry down. When that milk and the vanilla come out and the sugar, that's when I really can appreciate the fragrance. The opening is very strong on that lavender, like I said. So if you are not a lavender fan, to be honest, I don't know if you'll like this. But I've grown to really appreciate this fragrance. This is still a fragrance that I tend to want to wear in the evenings before bedtime, which is not bad. You know, it is a lavender, cozy, milky sort of fragrance, perfect for that scenario. All these fragrances in the Lancome line, I honestly feel are like treasures to own. Like they really feel like treasures. They feel like some of the best fragrances in my collection. This is no exception as well. Very happy to have this one. I would love to know your thoughts in the comments down below as well. This is Lavande Trianon by Lancome. So next up we have two fragrances by Mancera. The first one that I have to share with you here is Feminity. Yes, it's not a word, so it's hard to say. It's not a real word. Feminity, not femininity. Feminity. So this is Feminity by Mancera. This is a fragrance that I've been eyeing for quite some time. I was holding off on it for a couple of reasons, one of which was this is seen as being quite similar to Gold Incense, which I also have by Mancera. And Gold Incense is a fragrance that was a love at first sniff that kind of devolved for me. I don't like it as much anymore. I find it a little bit too messy. Like I feel like there's a little bit too much stuff going on, and for that reason I don't reach for it as often. This one, some people say they're redundant, so because of that I held off, but then I finally went for it, and this is the one that I think I now prefer over, like, between the two. I'm still not sure. I still need to experiment, but ooh, always a nice spray. Yeah, this to me is actually a little bit more smooth than Gold Incense. More smooth to me, a little bit more powdery and vanillic. This also has a lot going on just like Gold Incense, but it just feels a little bit smoother in this fragrance to me. There's leather, tangerine, coffee, and pink pepper in the opening. I find the leather very tolerable in this fragrance. I don't think you should be scared of it if you're typically scared of leather. It's very well blended in here. Actually, that leather with that pink pepper and the coffee and the tangerine together, they blend a lot nicer to me than in Gold Incense's opening, which also has coffee. But yeah, this definitely gets a little bit more sweet and a little bit more gourmand, more so than the Gold Incense. For that reason, I think I prefer this one a little bit more. It still has that very powdery mid with the heliotrope and the violets, with a very vanillic, caramelic, musky sort of dry down. It's a nice, slightly complex, powdery vanilla fragrance to me. Yeah, I find this quite nice, and I'm really excited to wear this some more. This is also a relatively recent purchase, but I'm really excited to experiment with this and wear it some more. I would love to know any of your thoughts on this fragrance down below, or Gold Incense, or both as well. That's Feminity by Mancera. And then we have by Mancera Aoud Orchid by Mancera, and this is a fragrance that is quite unique in my collection. I'm really happy to have this fragrance. I don't think we hear that much about this, and I think this is one of the more underrated fragrances by Mancera. So this here is very strange. It's very hard to describe. I've never smelled anything quite like this. This smells like a sweet vanillic body cream after shower, very specifically, and it's so strange because, and I know it's quite accurate, that after shower description, because the first time I wore it, that was my thought. And then my son, my 5-year-old son, was like, did you just take a shower? It smells like you just took a shower. And it's such a funny thing to say because it does not smell soapy, it does not smell shampoo-y or anything like that. It's as if you had this luxurious body lotion after shower, which is such a strange way to describe it, I find, but I don't know how else to describe it. It's very sensual and feminine, coconut vanilla, but with some heliotrope, that orchid in there, I guess. It is lactonic, but it's in that lactonic sort of way that's not necessarily edible. It's more lactonic in a creamy, sensual, like lotiony kind of way. Yeah, it smells like a fruity vanilla coconut, very dense body butter lotion. Just like the other Manceras I have, this is very, very strong. This projects. This is very long lasting. I think this is one of the more unique scents that they have as well. I noticed on Fragrantica that this was overwhelmingly voted to be quite similar to another fragrance called Sensual Orchid by Laurent Mazzone, and that fragrance looks really, really beautiful as well, and the notes are very similar, the accords are very similar, and I think Sensual Orchid, that name, like that's what this is to me too. This is a sensual vanillic orchid sort of scent to me. Coconutty, a little bit nutty, lactonic, vanilla, but yeah, very unique, lotiony, like I said. I'd be really interested in knowing your thoughts on this fragrance if you smelled it before. I think this is quite underrated. This is Aoud Orchid by Mancera. And then last but certainly not least, kept the best for last, I don't know. These are also great. I don't know which one I could say is the best, but this is by Xerjoff, and this is Italica. And this has gotten a lot of hype, and it's also quite divisive in the community, or polarizing. I knew this was not necessarily a safe blind buy, and I would agree with that. This is beautiful spray. A very, very strong lactonic almond fragrance. Very milky, very almondy. That almond is a little bit floral to me, and that almond reminds me so much, like it literally just smells like those little, I think they're called like amaretti, like those little cookies, those little almond Italian cookies that are like super light and spongy, not actually spongy, but like light like meringue, you know, and they're almond, and they have a little bit of a sort of like liqueur sort of vibe about them. This smells like those cookies with milk. It's absolutely delicious, but it's a very specific kind of almond fragrance. I love the saffron in the opening here as well. I think it adds a very unique touch to this lactonic almondy gourmand fragrance. This is definitely a literal gourmand fragrance. I'm literally salivating, but it's also a very specific sort of gourmand fragrance. Like I said, it's really like those cookies. If you've ever had those, this smells like exactly like that. Like if you took that cookie right up to you and then later on added some milk. It's like those little cookies cookies like drenched in milk. It's lovely. I'm absolutely excited and happy and honored to have her in my collection. Casa Morati's Italica by Xerjoff. Please let me know what your thoughts are down below about this fragrance. I know it's quite polarizing. I know some people view it as overrated, and then some people view it as like the best gourmand ever. So I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this fragrance. I definitely don't think you should blind buy this, you guys. Do not blind buy this. Like I said, this is definitely a love it or hate it kind of fragrance, I think. And yeah, the only thing that I can say, there you go. If you like those little amaretti cookies, you might like this. If you really don't like those, you might really not like and not vibe with this almond in here. It really smells like that to me. So that is Casa Morati Italica. Lovely. Okay, let's just go through briefly some of these dry downs, okay? Let's do it. Crystal Love, powdery vanilla, a little bit of that chocolatey background, like chocolate greedy, but super toned down, and a little bit of that juicy appleness in the background, like Casablanca. Yeah, pretty much that's it. Musky, powdery, fruity, sweet gourmand. Really nice. Draco or Draco by Tiziana Terenzi. Slightly green, musky, fruity, slightly lactonic peach. The lactonicness is constantly being counterbalanced by a tart sourness from the fruitiness as well. Very nice. Super joyful kind of fragrance. Yeah, Draco or Draco by Tiziana Terenzi. Lovely. Then we have Nicolai Tonka Vanille. Yeah, right now it's feeling definitely more masculine to me. This is very well blended. There's no like discernible main note that's kind of jumping out at me. It's just like one smooth, rounded, warm, spicy vanilla with some citrus in it. And for some reason, it leans a little bit masculine. There's something also a little bit woody in it that feels a little bit like library sort of woodiness, like that library smell a little bit in it. Nishane Zenne, much more toned down since before, but like still so intoxicating, makes my mouth water. Fruity vanilla with that sour punch tang in there. Lovely. Memo Sintra. See, Sintra is now more creamy and lactonic and dense. Love is a lot more powdery, the dusty powderiness of a marshmallow. Sintra is a lot more dense of a fragrance. Yeah, it feels heavy a little bit. And that's part of the reason that I think Memo Sintra is a really good winter fragrance. Love is a little bit more versatile. Both delicious, both slightly different. Borea, still get that mothballness in there. I get the Tiziana Terenzi DNA in there. I don't know if it's because it also has peach in it. All of my fragrances from them have peach, I think. No, not all, but you know, at least these two. But yeah, still has that mothballness in there that I think would be a turnoff to anyone that I think is from the tuberose. Lavande Trianon. That sweetness is coming out. That gourmand, sugary, sweet, slightly milky edge is coming out. Iris Tragique, heavy on the iris right now. Sweet candied almonds. Datura Noir, that high-end luxury resort vacation sort of vibe going on. Dense. This is a dense summery vacation, luxurious, sunscreeny a little bit. Tuberose, vanilla, coconut with some almond in there too. Yeah, Nishane Ani. I'm totally getting a little bit of that Fruit Loops milk vibe with the vanilla. Hacivat, I'm getting a lot more of that oak moss woodiness in there. It's constantly kind of competing with the grapefruit pineapple-ness in there. It's totally balanced between the two. That Majestic Musk, again, remember there's no musk note in there, but it totally feels like there is. It really is like an interpretation of musk. And I really do think it's that suede with the heliotrope. Yeah. Initio Rehab. Okay, I'm starting to understand why it's compared to Spicebomb. Yeah, okay, I get it, yeah. Still different because Spicebomb has a lot more going on in terms of the spices and everything, but I understand now. Yeah, so good. This is such a solid fragrance. Like, this is a luxurious fragrance to me. And then Aoud Orchid. Yeah, so hard to describe. It's like gourmand, but totally not. It's totally not edible. It's like you would think it's gourmand with that vanilla, the coconut, the sweetness, but this is a sweet, sensual, creamy vanilla you would not want to eat. This is one that you would want to rub all over your body and like soak into your skin. Lovely. And this is literally like, it does make you smell like, yeah, you just came out of a very luxurious shower. Again, not shampoo-y or soapy. Xerjoff Italica. Wow. Definitely an amazing gourmand fragrance. If you like a literal gourmand fragrance, and again, those almond cookies, love it. And then Rose Arabia Almond, very gourmand, but that almond in there is very, very sticky and sweet and syrupy because it's not just almond, right? It has that really sweet tuberose, those white florals, caramel. Yeah, this is a very sweet, slightly lactonic gourmand fragrance. Nice. So there you have it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed that final haul. Please let me know down below what fragrances you've smelled out of these and what your thoughts are on any of them. And if you have any recommendations, of course, as always, I would love to hear them down below. Thank you so much for being here with me again today. I hope that you enjoyed this haul series. If you have not seen my other ones, definitely check them out. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like on your way out. Thank you so much for doing so. And of course, if you would like to see some more videos, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. As always, until we see each other again, take care of yourself, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.